What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Best Bet show. I'm going to wait for everyone to start trickling in here. We need to get our show time down pat. It's a little sporadic, but we really appreciate you guys coming in every live show. We do have a special guest, Alex Caruso, on as well. Boys, how are we doing? Austin, always great to see you. I see you copied my sweatshirt today. I think we're all on hoodie gang. I'll start with you, Austin. How are you feeling this morning? Are you tackling this Monday, or are you letting it get to you?
Oh, man, I'm absolutely head-on tackling this Monday. Monday's my favorite day of the week. It always has been. Everyone hates on it. It's a great way to start the week. When you like what you're doing and you're positive about it, you know what I mean? So for me, I always loved Mondays. It's low-key like my favorite day. So I'm having a great day. AC, how you doing?
I'm feeling amazing. Monday is also my favorite day. It's a double day, which means NFL plus NBA. The more sports that are on, the better. Because I'm a degenerate and I will never stop betting on sports or enjoying it. So I think today is also my favorite day, and I can't wait for Tuesday as well. So what's better than Monday Night Football and some NBA?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. How do you hate Sunday? How do you hate Monday? How do you hate Thursday? How do you hate Tuesday? How do you hate Saturday? It's just such a great time. We wake up every single day. Like, we have a great schedule going on these next few months. We can't take it for granted.
Honestly, Wednesday kind of sucks. The whole hump day thing is kind of overrated. Like,
I agree.
Low-key,
the worst day, Wednesday.
Low-key, yeah.
It's horrible. You wake up, you're like, it's not Thursday. It's not Monday. Monday is great because you're like, you know what? This week's going to be my bitch. We can curse on here, I think.
Yeah, we're going to tackle this MF.
Yeah, exactly. Monday's like, this week is mine. Wednesday, you're kind of like, what are you doing here, bro? You know, just move out the way. There's no football on. There's whatever NBA schedules or hockey schedules is really all we have. So we're going to go on this beautiful Monday. We got some love for you guys. This Daily Double's been lethal. You're damn right. We got some love from Down Under over here.
Hey, let's go.
A big Volkanovski fan. We are going to talk about football on this slate. I believe Alex has posted his. Have you posted your basketball plays yet?
I did.
Okay, Alex's basketball plays and football plays. Check out his Twitter. Austin, I believe, put his basketball plays out as well. And football, one play posted, more to come. Is that correct?
Yeah, likely one more to come. Still looking for it. Hopefully, maybe one of you guys talk me into a play. You know,
well, before the show, you weren't loving what I had to offer, so I doubt that's true. But we do have, I guess, a decent game. Not really, but a good side to bet on. Broncos versus Bills. A pretty important game if we're talking standings-wise. I mean, the Bills 5-4, a game behind the 6-3 Dolphins, and the Broncos at 3-5. If they lose, with the Raiders now winning and being 5-5 and the Chargers 4-5, I think they can kiss their playoff hopes goodbye. Not that there's a strong chance that they make it, but they're still technically in the mix if they do win this game. So a lot on the table, 7-point spread. Before we dive into props, I guess we'll start with Austin. Where do you see this game going? Do you see a blowout? Do you think it's fairly close? Over, under? What are you liking as far as sides and totals?
I think there's two sides to this. Like, my first look, I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be a blowout. Like, give me the Bills minus 7.5. I'm hammering it. But I will say, just from the last few years, watching Denver in primetime games, I know they're always kind of atrocious games, but they somehow, like, I always try to look for teams that can, like, get gritty and kind of muck out games, you know what I mean, and make them just interesting. And this is kind of what I see with this line. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a reason it's at 7.5. I feel like bookmakers think Bills maybe play down to their competition like they have a few times this year and only win by 7. I don't think there's much chance that the Broncos win, but my gut tells me over 7 or take the spread 7.5 Bills. But I think there's a reason this line's at 7.5 rather than 8.5 or 9.5.
I agree. Alex, what are your thoughts on this game? You like any over-unders or sides here?
Yeah, I'd be hammering the over for sure. I think the Bills are going to dominate this game and put up probably 30 points. I mean, Josh Allen has been just phenomenal in pretty much every single primetime game that he plays in. But in addition to that, they might be missing their linebacker one. They're missing their 2 outside corners. So I think the Broncos are actually going to put up some points here. Like, I think that I'm not sure if I would have a side on the spread because I think they're both going to put up points. But if anything, I'd just be hammering the over when in doubt tonight.
So you like the 47 over?
Yeah,
over
I would take because I think the Bills are going to probably put up 30 of that on their own. I think the Broncos are going to find their way into some points as well.
I agree. I was looking at the Bills team total over 27.5 myself. This team is just so good in the red zone. Tyler Bass really hasn't been that much of a factor. as far as field goals. This Bills team, Josh Allen's so lethal because he could run it in, and obviously he airs it out better than almost anybody. We have a special guest in the chat calling her shot. The boys are
Let's
live.
go. What up, COS?
Thanks for swinging by, Mr. Other Austin. And yeah, the Bills, number 2 offensive ranked DVOA, and the Broncos, you could probably guess what their defensive rank is. It is not very good. It is dead last. So for me, it screams team total. And for me to like a team total, I like it if it's fairly not close, but if the Broncos are going to put up a dud, I don't like because the Bills just don't need to score anymore. But if the Broncos can score 14, 17, 20 points, I think the Bills easily get over 27.5. That's where I'm kind of leaning. I do think Josh Allen kind of plays down to his competition. He's thrown a pick in 5 straight games. So that interception prop is kind of tasty. Russell Wilson interception prop as well. But I do think the Bills score. I like the overlook. I just can't tell if I want to fully commit to the Broncos. But Austin, I think you're right. The Broncos are they grind it out in primetime games. I will say they make it as difficult as possible, whether it's ugly or not. So I like that spot as well. We'll dive into props. Alex, do you want to feed us one of your favorite props today?
Yeah, I think my favorite prop has to be Josh Allen over fantasy score on DFS books like Underdog and Prize Picks. You can get it at 23.65, I think, now on Underdog, which is my favorite play. He's averaged nearly 30 fantasy points per game when his team is favored by 7 or more. He's covered this line in 9 of his last 11 primetime games. And even at home games, he's the home games favored by at least a touchdown. He's thrown at least 2+ touchdowns in 8 straight games. So I'd be taking the juice on 1.5 touchdowns if you can find a book that has that. But no matter what, his fantasy score is nearly automatic in games that are favored in prime time. I'm going to lean that tonight.
Yeah, I love that. I think he rushes a touchdown in. I hit that on a primetime parlay the last time they were in primetime. I feel like the Bills are in primetime a lot. But I love him in the red zone. I think just teams obviously have to look out for Kincaid, Diggs, even Davis. So he, maybe one guy's spying him, but if Josh Allen, he's big and he can run. So he's a stiff arm away from grabbing that extra rushing touchdown. Austin, I know you posted your Gabe Davis. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, it's correlated to Alex's fantasy score with Josh Allen. So I kind of liked Allen as well a ton. And I think a lot of the targets, Kincaid, Diggs, Davis, even today, I think those guys are due for big games. I just like Gabe Davis at home. He's hitting 4 of 5 at 37.5 receiving yards, 0-4 on the road. So, he's clearly a superior player at home. Against wide receiver 2s, Broncos DVOA dead last. They've gotten destroyed to wide receiver 2s. I think this is a spot where Gabe Davis can get involved. And I like the bounce back narrative after having 2 targets last week, 0 catches, just wasn't involved. He doesn't have Pat Surtain on him. Pat Surtain's likely going to run around with Diggs. So, obviously Diggs is still going to be involved. It's still Stephon Diggs. But I just think matchup-wise, Gabe Davis has a really good matchup. The DVOA is there. I think one play, he can take this one to the house. He's shown that. He's a big play player at home. He's been really solid at home. I think at 37.5, it's a good line to back that, like I said, it's minus 200 over 2.5 receptions. So he's going to be involved.
No, I agree. I think this is an interesting game because as far as the Broncos side, you almost don't really trust any prop, and it's just you don't know where it's going to go. With the Bills side, you're going to see everyone posting Stephon Diggs everything as per usual.
Right.
But I think there are value plays in, I think Kincaid, the kind of secrets out of the cat's out of the bag per se in that category. But I think Gabe Davis and anyone on the Bills is capable of getting a money pass from Josh Allen that it's hard to do. I personally want to play James Cook rushing yards so bad just because I think they're going to be winning, but I just can't take it. I can't get myself to do that. I like Josh Allen rushing attempts or rushing yards, but there's just so many ways that this Bills team can score and move the ball that I think any sort of Bills prop against this worst-ranked DVOA defense is probably a good look. Have you guys looked into the Broncos sides of things? Do you guys have any looks there?
I have one. My only prop that I have so far for the Broncos that I'm definitely going to be hammering tonight is Jaleel McLaughlin under 6.5 receiving yards. The biggest thing is that since Javonte Williams came back and started playing more of a role, his pass catching work has gone down. Like if you look at the game logs, you'll see he's had 2 targets in 3 straight games, but he's been on only 13% of the routes the last 2 games, and he was targeted on 50% and 75% of his routes. It's completely unsustainable. And again, it's not that if he gets a catch, we lose. He's got to get over 7 yards. So I think it's going to be asking a little bit too much with how small his role has gotten in the pass game.
Yeah, I mean, and also his reception line is like plus 150 for 2 catches. So if he gets 1 catch and it's less than 6.5 yards, you most likely are hitting that bet. And he may have 0 catches. One that I was looking at that I know both you guys were not, head over heels for is that I was going to look at Pirine receiving yards, probably not receptions because it's over 1.5, like minus 190, minus 200. But they think Pirine's going to get 2 catches. The Bills are good receiving targets, running backs. And like you said, there's a 3-headed dragon there. Javonte Williams getting the primary rushes. I think Pirine is the pass-catching back number 2. And Pirine has hit over 13.5 receiving yards in every single week this year. And I think even if they're losing by a lot or it's close, the dump-off is always there. I don't like backing a lot of Broncos props, but I just feel like that prop at 100% hit rate against a decent target makes sense. I think I may play McLaughlin under and Pirine over. That's just my thought. You guys know I love my running back receiving yards props. It's dangerous to back the Broncos, but I feel like I have to play it.
Right. Yeah. And I kind of get that. I feel like for me, looking at this Denver backfield, they just have a lot of guys now. Like, what I mean? Like if they have 3 dudes, Pirine, McLaughlin, Williams, like it's hard to kind of see. So I kind of like the under, and like I like taking at least one of those guys under. After looking, Jaleel McLaughlin, I kind of am eyeing his under rush and receive a little bit, not official, but it's just something that's interesting to me. I've seen it at 28.5, and looking at his logs, he has had 4 carries and 5 carries the last 2 games for 45 and 33 yards. I don't think he's a 9-yard per carry player, and he's just broke big runs in both those games. I think with the negative game script, it could be good to have the rush and receive at 28.5, just because if they are trailing by 14, 6.5 is a lower line, but you obviously looked into it more than I have. This is just something I'm noticing. Yeah. So 28.5 could be an interesting line just because I don't think he's a 9.5 yard per carry player. So he's probably due, if he's only getting 4 or 5, he's probably going to have a game with 20 yards, 18 yards.
If I can jump in there, I think you just made that an official play for me. I mean, I'm looking right now, and it's really, really interesting because, I mean, his routes the last 3 games have been 38%, 13%, and 13%. And then his team rush attempts have been 35%, 21%, and then all the way down to 6% the previous week before the bye. So he might be completely phased out. I think that 28.5 gives us a little bit more breathing room. I agree. I think I'm going to ride with you on that because the 6.5 receiving yards could be 1 catch, but he's not going to get a lot of work in general. And if the Broncos are down, in this game, he's probably more likely to get a little more receiving than rushing. So you just talked me completely into this play. So credit to you.
I love it. Because, my thought just was too, if they're down, he could go 2 catches for 9 yards. You know what I mean? If they're down 21, and then you're kind of like, well, damn, I had a good read, but they're down 21. They're going to pass the whole time. They're not going to run. I don't think he's a priority to get the ball to out of the backfield. I know he's had 2 solid games where he just broke big runs, like that's going to happen. But I don't think that's as likely. And I think Javonte Williams, they want to get him the ball more. Pirine's probably going to see more touches, I would say. So I just think 28.5 gives you that cushion because all you need, I mean, if he has 0 receiving yards, perfect. He's probably not going 28 yards tonight. You know what I mean? Rushing. So
I'm looking at, I see definitely a line mess up here on PointsBet. I see Javonte Williams' rush attempts is 13.5. FanDuel is a 14.5, and PointsBet is a 15.5. And every game that they've lost, he's soared under 15.5. I mean, looking at 10, 11, 12, and 13. And it starts at 13 was the first game, 12, 11, 10, and their losses. And even the wins, 15 in the win versus Green Bay and 27 versus the Chiefs when they're up 24-9. But unless it's that game script again, I think 15.5 is way too high of a number. It's only on one book. The 13.5, that's probably a great line set by other books. But 15.5 with a losing game script feels like kind of a mess up over there on PointsBet. What are your thoughts on Javonte Williams, Alex?
I think that he's someone that's really tough for me because I don't ever want to take his unders because he's gone up in snaps in 4 straight games. He's gone up in percentage of the team's rush attempts in 4 straight games. And, he's been up in routes pretty much every single game as well. So I think that just because I think that he is their guy, he should be pretty much close to 100% healthy right now. I think that taking any unders do scare me because they know that if they're going to muck this game up, it's going to be off the back of Javonte Williams in the run game and trying to control the clock more than the Bills. So I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I agree with you, but I think there's just a little bit too much there for me to take something for sure.
No, I agree. And I think I would only take that if I'm fully sold on the Bills running away with this game. And I don't think I am sold just because I don't know if I could trust Josh Allen's presence in these games. I feel like they're always disappointing. That could just be me being a little biased, but I feel like they'll beat the Dolphins, they'll beat the Chiefs, and they'll lose to like a team like the Texans or something. I mean, looking at their schedule, like they lost to the Patriots, they lost to the Jets, but then they beat the Dolphins and these other good teams. But they also haven't played a lot. I mean, against good defenses, they don't play well, but against bad defenses, which is what we're going to see today, they definitely put some points on the board. But like you said, if the Broncos can keep this competitive, I definitely would not take Javonte Williams. But there's one angle that you have to take, and I feel like a wide receiver in this Broncos game probably makes the most sense if they're losing. I just can never understand who that will be. I drafted Jerry Jeudy, and he's been so disappointing for me. Do you have any thoughts on a wide receiver or tight end in this game?
Do you, Austin? I
honestly don't think you can play any of them. I think Russell Wilson is so horrendous, and it's so hard for me to like even watch this Denver Broncos team. Like if you're not taking an under in this game, like what I mean? Like for me, I don't like any of the overs looking at these lines. I really don't.
I think the only other thing that I'd be willing to play if you're looking at receivers, I might play the Russell Wilson over pass attempts. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked.
The numbers are just so bad. Have you seen?
I mean, it's been really bad, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw similar to something we saw from Zach Wilson, on Sunday Night Football, where they expected them to run the ball, and then maybe the Bills just try to go all out to stop Javonte Williams in the run and force them to pass. Because we saw the same game script where on paper, yes, they should be running the ball, but maybe they end up throwing the ball a little bit more than we think. And right now, 29.5 pass attempts against a team that's favored by 7 against them, like that's a tough line not to take for any QB.
I agree. I think the only other thing that scares me too, I haven't looked at the Bills defense in this, but the sacks. Russ is very known to take sacks. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's like I'm seeing 6, 1, 4, 4, 7. Like the dude takes sacks. So like obviously that sucks for pass attempts, but I agree with the game script 29.5. That's kind of been my line that I've played all year. Yep. And I kind of think there's a reason I'm not playing this one and I'm not seeing it. So I'm kind of just trusting my read. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But I can't knock you on it.
It's tough. I want to play Russell Wilson interception because I feel like if the game script is there, it's perfect. I also feel like he's gone 2 games without throwing an interception, but I don't know if that's sustainable with just the way they play football. And the Bills defense is, I think, top 3 in the league for interceptions, even with their defensive injuries. So it's something I'm looking at. I'm not finalized on my plays. We do have some questions in the chat. Where was it? This guy said, I just gave y'all 2 locks. Exotic bullies.
What's the lock? I
didn't. He just said Javonte Williams his night tonight and other things. Other than that, I'm leaning P. Ryan. I'm leaning Russell Wilson interception. I'm not finalized yet. If we don't have any more questions in the chat, that's going to be it. I will have my parlay out later for today. This guy said Sutton anytime TD. I'm going to say no. I guess we will do our first touchdown scores. I know Alex did want to go first. So we'll give Austin a chance to look for his. I know he's scrambling.
I already got mine.
Oh boy. But Alex came in red hot with his. So what are you doing?
I think I'm going Dalton Kincaid. I mean, the Broncos haven't given up a ton of touchdowns to tight ends, but they've given up the most receiving yards in the league to tight ends. I think that, with Pat Surtain and Diggs, I think it's probably going to be Gabe Davis or Dalton Kincaid, because I think the Bills definitely score first in this one. But Kincaid's my guy. He's been a coin respecter all year. I got to go him.
That's not hitting. Latavius Murray plus 1,700. The Vulture.
I think you said it last time.
He got in the end zone. It wasn't the first one, but he got in. That's what I'm going with. Plus 1,700. DraftKings.
Man, I have no idea what I want to do.
It realistically, the tight ends have been so good. I can't blame anyone for playing it. But
he gets so mad about the tight ends. I'm trying to think of mine. See, the problem is that these Bills props are too juiced. I can't play Josh Allen. I can't play James Cook.
Gabe Davis, baby.
I can play. You know what? He's gonna catch a bomb.
He is catching a bomb tonight, dude.
No, Gabe Davis is catching a 33-yard touchdown. That is my guess. Gabe Davis, first touchdown scorer, plus 1,200 over there on FanDuel. This guy said Hard Rock Sportsbook, Davis or Kincaid TD is boosted minus 120. I would take that. Their team total touchdowns at 3.5. I think one of those guys. There's no way.
What? Combined? Minus, I would hammer that.
Yeah, I would hammer that as a fact. This guy said Allen Rush CD. I'd say yes. Appreciate the profile picture as well. But I love that. I think that goes with Alex's fantasy points over. And he's just such a threat in that red zone, and he loves to trust himself because he's afraid to throw some picks. I'm just gonna say it. That's it for us today. Please like and subscribe. We will have a time set up for these videos coming soon. But I really appreciate you guys. We had about 200 people in here at one point. So I just wanted to say thank you. Best of luck in your bets today, and make sure to follow and stay active on all our accounts as we post the rest of our plays and promos for today. Best of luck in your bets. Peace out. Alex, thank you for coming on. Catch you guys next time. Peace.